Welcome to educator.com. This lesson is about percents and proportions. In this lesson, you will learn that percents and proportions help you understand the relationship between a portion compared to the entire amount. This is useful to understand people's opinions and also to think critically about advertising. Vocabulary for this lesson is a review of proportion and cross products. You can review these topics in the lesson about proportions. A proportion is an equation stating that two ratios are equal. Cross products occur when you multiply the numerator of each ratio by the denominator of the other ratio. Cross products of a proportion are always equal. For example, 2 over 5 equals 4 over 10. The cross product would be 2 times 10, and the cross product would be 5 times 4. And notice that these cross products are equal. 20 equals 20. This only works in proportions, meaning two ratios are equal. Let's find part of a whole. Find 50% of n of 36. There are two ways to do this. The first way is by creating a proportion. A certain number out of 36, half of 36, which is 50% of 100. 50% is 50 over 100, and we're looking for a number which is a part of 36. We could do the cross product 100n equals 36 times 50. So 100n equals 1,800. Divide by 100, isolating n equals 18. So 50% of 36 is 18. So what we're saying is 18 over 36 is the same as 50 out of 100. Another way to do that is to take 50% and change it into a decimal. This is the method that we used in the last lesson, which is 0.50 or just 0.5, and multiply that with 36. In one place gives us 18. So there are two ways to find part of a whole. You could create a proportion, looking for the number out of the total 36, relating that to the percentage out of 100, or you could change percentage into a decimal and multiply that with the number. Let's find 65% of 143. I'm going to take 65% and change it into a decimal, 0.65, and multiply that with 143. 3 times 5 is 15. 18 plus 1 is 19. Hold the place, 20, 24, 26. Hold the place, 6 and 5. 5, 9, 13, 7, and 8 with 2 decimal places. 83.95. There are 12 students that want to be in student council. These 12 students make up 8% of the 8th grade. Since I solved the last problem by using decimals, I'll solve this problem by using proportions. 12 students out of a certain number, which we don't know how many, and I think they want to find out the whole amount, so how many students are in the 8th grade. So 12 students want to be in student council out of the entire 8th grade, and that makes up 8 out of 100%. So if I cross multiply, I have 1,200 equals 8n. Now I'm going to find the total 8 by dividing both sides by 8. I'm going to find the total n. 1,200 divided by 8 goes in once, goes into 45 times, and I still have to take care of this last 0. So n equals 150. So there are a total of 150 students, and 12 of them want to be in student council, and that's represented by 8% of the class. That makes sense because 8% is not a lot out of 100. It's not even 10%, and 12 is not 10% of 150. 10% of 150 would be 12, so our answer is very reasonable. There are 78 students that are interested in participating in after-school clubs. This makes up 30% of the students in the school. How many students are in the school? So there are 78 students out of the total amount that we're looking for in the school. I'll call that T for total. And this is equivalent to 30 out of 100. So I'm going to cross multiply, and that's going to be 7,800 equals 30T. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 30. 30 and 30 cancel. In this case, I can cancel out these zeros and I can divide smaller numbers. 780 divided by 3. It goes in twice, and it'll go into 18 6 times perfectly, and in the final 0, 0. So the total students is 260. Let's check if our answer makes sense. 30% is a considerable portion, and 78 is a considerable portion of 26. If I estimate 78 to 80, 80 times 3 is 240, which is close, and 30% would be about times 3. So this answer is also reasonable. What percent of 175 is 105? There are two ways. You could write a proportion. 90 over 105 equals x over 100. So we're looking for the percentage. I think that we have a little problem with the numbers here. Let's make that 175. Yeah. So our proportion 175 over 105 equals x over 100, and 175 over 105. Yes, because we're looking for 175 as a percentage of 105. So we could do a cross proportion here. 175 over 105 equals x over 100. And if I cross multiply, I get 17,500 equals 105x. I can divide both by 105, and x will equal, let's try our division over here. It will go in once. I get 0 and 7. Bring down the 0. Let's try times 6. 630. And I get 70. Bring down the 0. And it'll go in perfectly. It'll go in again 6 times. And it seems that it's going to be repeating the 6. So we could say 166.6 repeating. So that is 166 repeating percentage. Notice that it is more than the 105 because it's more than 100%. 175 is larger than 100, so the percentage is going to be larger than 100%. Another way is just to simplify our fraction here. Dividing by 5 and dividing by 5. 175 divided by 5, it will go in 3 times, and will go in 5 times. And this will go in 21 times. And if we were to simplify this as a fraction, 35 and 21 goes in once, leaving me with 14. 14 over 21, and that is simplified to dividing by 7, 2/3. So that 1 represents 100%, and the 2/3 would be your 66.6 as a fraction. So 100 and 2/3. So the 1 represents your 100 with the 66.6%. What percent of 115 is 46? So if I have 115 over 46, you could also divide this, taking 115 divided by 46. It won't go in here to 11, but it will go in twice to 115. 46 times 2 is 12, 8, and 9. 92. 5 minus 2 is 3. I didn't have to borrow, so 11 minus 9 is 2. Put a decimal here, continue, into 230. It's about 50, so we could say maybe about 2, 3, 4. Maybe we could try 5. Might be a little bit of an overestimation, but we'll see. 23, nope, it's perfect. So as a decimal, it's 2.5, and as a percentage, if you remember from the last lesson, you move your decimal to the right twice. So it's 250%, which makes sense because 115 is more than double 46. That's the 200 plus an additional percentage. Remember that your percentage is always over 100 when the number is larger than the original number. 8% of 48. Let's take 8% and change it into a decimal by moving your decimal to the left twice. So I'm looking at 48 times 0.08. That is going to be 64. 32 plus 6 is 38, and I move it 2 places. So 8% of 48 is 3.84. 9 is 25% of what number? Remember that the of signals that the what number is going to be your 100, or is going to be your denominator. So 9 over x equals 25% of 100. So of what number? 9 of what number is 25%? Let's try this with a cross product. 900 equals 25x. I'm going to divide both sides by 25. That cancels and I'm left with x. 900 divided by 25 can go in 3 times, giving me 75. Leaving me with 5, I borrowed, so 15, and we'll go in 6 times. 36, so x equals 36. So 9 over 36 is 25%. There are 108 students with brown eyes in a class. This makes up 75% of the students. How many students are in the class? So 108 out of the total students makes up 75 over 100. 75 over 100 is the proportion that it equals. So we could use a cross product here. We could say 10800 equals 75t. Now notice my numbers are very large. I'm going to come back to this. You could go ahead and solve this and find out the t for total, but I'm going to try something a little different this time, and I'm going to try simplifying the 75 over 100. That's going to be 108 over t equals 3 over 4. Now I've created an equivalent fraction, and it's smaller, so that will help me with simplifying. So now I can cross multiply and cross multiply. So 108 times 4 is 32. And 4. So 432 equals 3 times t. And now I can divide both sides by 3. It will go in 1 time, giving me 13, which will go in 4 times, giving me 12, and will go in 4 times again. So t equals 144. Let's see if our answer makes sense. There are a total of 144 students in the class, and 108 of them have brown eyes. This is 75%. So most of the students in the class have brown eyes, and it's true that 108 is most of 144. So that seems that our answer is reasonable. 66 is what percent of 55? Remember that the of signals that the number following is your denominator. So I have 66 over 55. Well, straight off, I know that 66 is larger than 55. So I know that my percentage is going to be over 100%. And it's like a fraction, so we can divide the denominator by the numerator by the denominator, and create a decimal. 55 goes into 66 once. There's our 100%. Put our decimal, and this is our portion now. It'll go into 55 twice. Exactly. So that means as a decimal it's 1.2, and as a percentage, remember that we need to move our decimal to the right twice. So it's 120%. Let's see if our answer makes sense. 66 is more than 55, so it's over 100%, it's an 120%, and it is additional 20%. So it's not only more than 55, it's an additional amount on top of that, which is 66. Thank you for watching educator.com.